All right, so welcome, friends. We are learning about value this week. We didn't really talk much about it, so I am just addressing it. And hopefully, we will do a book it with value. Let me go ahead and get it so where you can see me. So I'm going to just join this random meeting. I have my camera. All right, there we are. So, friends, on this value lesson, I tried to find something that was interesting to us. If you came to the school, you saw that we saw a coyote. So I had this photograph printed. And as you are an artist, if you can get some tangible way, I know you look off your phone, but this is just easier because if I want to, I can put like a grid on it, which means I am turning it over and I'm just putting a grid on it. And I realize if you don't mind destroying the front of the artwork or picture, you can, but if you can sort of see over here, you can sort of see my line going through, and I just split it up. And this is going to help me draw this picture. And so I'm going to do the same thing to my piece of paper. And this also, I know I'm doing a lesson on value, but it also talks about proportion and making sure that you have your parts. Also, if you can make a copy of it or see what it looks like in black and white, the values are the shades. And so we see white values under the eyes, on his little back leg, somewhere probably under his neck, on his chest, on his ears, inside of his ears. And then the darkest place I'm looking for is where he's sitting. And I'm remembering that as an artist, like, all right, I have to make sure I have to make it really dark where he's sitting because the light was beaming down on him. And so underneath him will obviously be shadows. It'll be darker. And so right under his eye, there's contrast because you've got the extreme white right under his eye and then the black underneath that. And just trying to remember this. Obviously, we're going to get started and we'll be a little different. But that way, I've got a little guide to do that on. So in order for me to understand this better, I am going to destroy my photograph. And if you have a picture of grandma and grandpa, I don't advise you to do this to any portrait or picture that you deem important because it does now I got a big cross on my artwork, okay, or on my photograph, which I consider an artwork. I also have, if you love to shade with a pencil, this is the best pencil, friends. It's called the Prismacolor Ebony Pencil, jet black, extra smooth, and it's just like the softest pencil you've ever shaded with. It's really fun. This is usually, your normal pencil is a 2B, and then I've got just a big marker, a 2H. I do have a white, but and you can do this on black paper, and then your white highlights will show up more, or you can do it on, I'm sorry, if I said white paper, I meant black paper. And then the white highlights will show on up with this white paper. Your black highlights are going to show more. So let's get started. So I'm looking at this artwork and I see right in the middle, all right, I see that and now our friend that does these videos, the Art for Kids, he doesn't look off anything. I think he just memorizes it, but that's not how we usually draw. We usually look off something. And so I see the right eye is very close to this line. So and just have fun with this. If it's not exact, it's fine, friends. It's the end of the year. I'm glad you're showing up. Let's just get started and let's just get started drawing. When we learned about shapes, sometimes they said, think of this in forms of simple shapes. So I look at this and I see this simple shape. I know the nose is in the way, but I see a circle right here. All right. And so hopefully I'm helping you. And I see that circle is right there. It goes below. And here is my grid. Okay. And so I'm going to go and make a circle just like I see on my photograph. All right. And then I'm going to add 2 triangles. And so I could even draw right over top of it to help me understand how it's sitting on that circle. Okay. So I see it pretty much goes straight out, and then it looks like a triangle. In that triangle, you can measure with your pencil, the tip of the pencil to halfway. It is about that size. So it's about this size. And so I'm going to make sure this line and this line match. It's the same size. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I could just draw right over top of it so I get the idea of what it's supposed to look like. All right. And then I come over here and I could think of this diagonal line as like a clock. So this is about at 2 o'clock. All right. Think 2 o'clock, or it might be a little late, a little earlier. All right. There we go. And it goes down to about this line, but not so much. All right, so I got the 2 ears. All right, and this just helps you, this grid helps you to get it on the paper correctly. All right, so now I'm going to look right in the center. And in the center, I see going to the left is the nose. And it goes... The muzzle comes out sort of like a cylinder, like a soup can. Not really like a soup can, but there's no other shape I could describe like the nose. And then so what am I doing? I'm using simple shapes to get it on here. Below the circle, my nose pops out. So I'm just going to sketch in, and this is like gesture drawing when you just try to find the right shape by just practicing, and you want to make sure your arm is moving as much as it can. All right, and now I'm going to come over here, and I look at this little line to help me. I see the angle of this line, and then I'm going to just try to draw in this line and this line. And, all right, now I'm going to go back to the most important part, which is the eye. So it's diving right into the center, diving right into the center. It doesn't start right there in the center. So it's sort of shaded right here. And then we go out. And this doesn't look like your typical dog. And I feel like, all right, so here is my circle. Where's the middle of my circle? Right there. Okay, so middle of my circle, right there. And it should be not going any farther, and I check that because I want to make sure the eye is right. Now if you start doing this, you're like, oh, I'm doing such a bad job. Just do an abstract drawing of the coyote. And if you remember, why are we doing this coyote? Well, it's because he was sitting, this is our school, and he was sitting beside the school. I don't know if he was sick, but they did come and pick him up while you guys were testing to keep you guys safe. He really wasn't doing anything, but they came just in case. There's that dark part of the eye. All right, and then he shaded right here beside it. So now it's starting to, only now am I starting to add that value. All right. And I would like to just say, oh, If you're trying to do it abstract, because I know this probably isn't the most perfect shape yet, but just don't be stressed out about it, okay? It is Friday. I'm trying to get this lesson done so I don't have to worry about it. And so I know you guys don't want the slowest of videos and you want me to be quick, but this is not an easy thing to do quickly, as you might know. Just make sure you've got a good eraser. And then I see his eyebrows. All right, so looks like a number 7 kinda. And then on the other side, it looks like a 71 almost. All right, and then there's a little bit of a zigzag here. And then there's dark value, dark. And then it goes very light, and he is a fuzzy, furry animal. So, but this part is really light, so I'm just going to go ahead and shade it with Mr. Dirty Finger. And this is a little bit darker. All right. And here we go. And his other, this one's darker than this one. Even though they're the same thing, this appears darker than this. And so as an artist, you can decide, all right, I'm only going to do what the photo says. Or you can be like, no, I know how to do it. I'm going to make it dark because that side is dark and I know the other side, it's okay if I do it dark. And you're right. You're the artist. You decide. However you want to perceive something, how you see it, you are the artist and you get to make it happen whatever way you see it. And as I said, if you just make, like if you do it very simply and you're trying to get it in there and then you shade it really dark, because this is only about value. So if you just make the triangle and keep it very simple, you don't have to make it as realistic as long as you're getting shades. Miss K, is it okay? I don't want to do that. That creeps me out. Can I do an anime character? And let me stop and say that yes. All right. There was a student, and again, we're learning about value. And so I'll be showing you that. I was thinking about playing this video because look at all those values, light, medium, and darks. And then I was going to show you how to do cross-hatching with this guy. And so he is an album cover. And then I was going to show you a 3D project to show values. As you can see, this lady spray painted a bunch of found objects. So we'll be learning about her tomorrow. And so the reflection, how the light hits hers, is the value. All right, so keeping it back, coming back to Ms. K, hopefully. There we go. All right, and so I see it's really dark under here. All right, and it looks like a C shape here, a C shape here, and it gets really, really, really dark right here. Now, Ms. K, you talked about that pencil. Yes, this is just like, I don't want to say it's like shading with butter, but it's just a very, very soft. And it's also, the bad part is though, with me shading here, it is hard to erase. So this pencil is hard to erase. So you're going to make sure you got it right. Otherwise, all right, so I see he looks like he's smiling almost, or a little bit, not so much, I guess. All right, so, and then this is all supposed to be white, and then right underneath it is the contrast of the white to something else. Now, the wonderful thing is, as you're the artist, you can make him, like, let's say, I don't know how to do the paws. Okay, well then pull your grass up here and make some grass. And then you won't have to add those paws, which really, I don't see paws in there. If you want to find out paws, then you would Google what you're looking at. And so if you Google what you're looking at, you'll say coyote laying down images. Okay? And when you do that, you're going to see your coyote laying down, and maybe you can then, and all coyotes look a little different. So this guy looks a little different. He might be from a different part of town. So just know that you can look up and add to it as an artist. It doesn't have to be only what you see here. Again, you're the artist, you decide. All right, and so I am just creating this, and now I've got most of the hardest part. His nose is like a smiley face emoji to really make it come out, and then this is like his top, the top of his nose. All right, and just tell yourself, all right, what's whitest? Make sure you keep in the things that are the whitest, white, and make sure the negative shape, I'm so glad I taught you negative shape, like this white little part is the shape that you want. All right, and if it's not, then erase it and fix it up so that it is. Then right from the middle of the ear, it looks like I've got him. Actually, is that right? Let's check. I gotta check my little. All right, it comes into him right here. And see, this pencil is so dull, it doesn't want to tear into the picture. All right, so it is more down here, as I'm finding out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and to help you draw this, just go ahead. If you've got that photograph, I don't advise you drawing on your phone, but you can see the shape and then just do the same thing. And remember the grid here. All right, so this right here, we're in the middle, and we go a little to the left. And so it just helps you to figure out how to get this on your paper correctly if you're trying to get it all the right size. If you're not too worried about it, remember I'm grading on your values. So you need to have some black areas, you need to have some gray areas, you need to have some white areas. And you know, we just did talk about texture. If you're trying to make it look like fur texture, you can go and make it in layers here and sort of go with how the animal is going, which starts out down like you're seeing, and then it starts out like the letter M, and then over here it starts looking like the letter Z. Okay, we've got his hip oval. All right, his hip oval, and his hip oval starts right here on this line, and it's nowhere near over here, and then it goes down till about a little above halfway. So I am in the right spot, and sometimes you'll notice if you're a good artist and you keep practicing that it'll just end up in the right spots like mine just did. All right, so I'm pushing down, I'm looking for the black spots. All right, and I started making that grass really, really dark. Now, if you start thinking about the mood you're in, maybe you want this to be a more dark picture, in which case you'll add more black if you're trying to cast like maybe a scary, haunting picture, or maybe you'll, you know, it just depends on what you want. So I'm going to use my finger and try to smooth him out. But Miss Kay, don't do the white spots. Don't do the white spots. I know. I'm going to not go around this hip here because I know right there is white. Okay, and you can even see these shapes. Like it looks like a little bit of a tornado right here, kind of, sort of. All right, tornado. All right, and then you've got this a little shaded darker and even darker. And he is really furry, so just make longer lines when you see longer lines, shorter lines, you make shorter lines. And they usually, just think of like a rainbow, but the little lines go, you know, like a star. Okay, if you have a sunshine, it goes like that. That's how it'll be around the head. So over here, the diagonal line will go this way, and over here, the diagonal line will go this way, and this one will just sort of be at the top. All right, and this is a contour line because it tries to make it look like the head is coming like out of the paper, so it looks like it's 3D. So I'm just adding these little line details. Again, you don't need these line details if you don't want. All right, I realize this is a 20-minute video and you got to wrap it up here, Miss K. All right, so if you want it, I don't care if you want to add the bricks and all the rest, you can. If you want to do an anime character that has shading, like I was just showing you, you can try that with the cross hatching. Cross hatching is super dark. Hatching is just like half of the hatching. But really, Miss K hates cross hatching and hatching. But, you know, you might not, and that's fine. So Miss K is just finishing this up by adding some dark value. All right. I'm going to erase my little whatever this is at the top. We don't need that. I want you to, friends, we have not been signing our artwork. So sign your artwork at the bottom of your paper. All right. Show me that you've got some shadows. All right, here's his shadow underneath him. Okay. All right, all right. And then, and you can just look at it. Now put this away, stand up, and maybe back away from it and be like, all right, I see whites. And if you don't see whites, drag this little thing out. And like, all right, this is white, this is white, this is white, this is white. And just use your eraser as like a drawer for the white. All right, his nose is right here is white. This C shape is white. Okay, and this little part is white. And so once you've got really, really black areas, really dark areas, really medium gray areas, light gray areas, and then white areas, you can call it done as long as you're happy with it. Also, notice it's not centered. That's fine. You could also add like a horizon line. So just make him sit down and just draw the line. And the wonderful thing with this Prismacolor pencil, look friends, I'm just using the side of my pencil. And obviously this guy was not having a crazy day. He was not happy. So I'm going to put a big cloud over him. And then I'm going to use my finger. And look how quick. This is like literally we've been doing this for 10 seconds. And my background is almost done. Now you could rip it and Miss K's going a little too fast, as you see, because I keep doing that. But I just hold the paper down. But again, friends, if you love to shade, you want this pencil. Prismacolor Ebony Jet Black Extra Smooth 14420 in the house. All right, if I had more time, I would go through and I would be going like this all throughout this, which Miss K, why don't you just finish it up? It's only going to take you a couple more minutes. You're right, you're right. So if you got to turn it off right now and you got it drawn, that's fine. Usually in the foreground, which is at the bottom, it's bigger. I'm going to have to clean this table because I am making a mess on the table. I'm making my lines bigger. All right, if you want a place to keep your name, just keep it right there. And, all right, I think it looks pretty good. That side of your pencil, friend, though, it does work wonders. All right, I'm going to make it even darker. Oh, Miss Kay, you must love what you do because you just don't stop. You're right. You're right. I do love what I do, and I love working with you all. Thank you so much. I'm going to go wash my hands now. I want you to make sure when you are done, you clean your table off, you wash your hands, you take a picture of this and submit it into the value lesson, which will be out soon. And I do believe that this coyote does look like not happy, which is what his mood was. Pick a happy picture if you want a happy picture. Good luck. If you want to remember this guy, though, please feel free to just draw like I drew. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.